that's a very different story. So I think that can be a challenge, more so in some cases than others. Company values and culture. I will talk about culture a little bit more in a few minutes, but especially when you have a team that's growing really, really quickly, especially when you have a team that you're asking to take on more responsibility than they're maybe ready for at the time, company culture is going to be really, really important. And I think we sacrificed that a little bit with some of our early hires, and maybe sacrificed the importance of it in terms of how it was prioritized in decisions about promotions, decisions about how we grew the company. So, I think when I talk about culture, I'm not talking about, I think too often, especially in the Bay Area, that gets confused with perks. There are a lot of companies with a lot of really good perks, right? And we do that whole thing too. We've got the ping pong table and we have a bar in our office and, all the fun stuff. But the culture is really like, do you have a common value set of how you want people to react to certain situations? And ours really, more than anything else, centers around being solution-oriented, right? I think the idea is we are growing really quickly. We face a lot of new challenges every single day. I've been at some companies with some really smart people with really bad culture because those really smart people were super articulate at describing exactly what was wrong and why it was wrong. And our point was we need the type of people who are going to figure out how to solve that, right? Like we want it to be honest, we want it to be open, we want to hear what we're screwing up basically, but we want you to come in and say, what if we did it this way instead? And so that was something that, as simple as it sounds, it was 1.5 years, 2 years into the company before we sat down and tried to put pen to paper and said, okay, this is what our value system really is as a company. This is our set of values that we're going to emphasize as company culture. And that was about in our infancy. That was 1.5 years in when we really started to think about that. And now we have something common that we can point back to and say, look, this is the standard that we expect from every person. Some of the other things on there besides being solution oriented, it's treating other people with respect, it's having a positive attitude. It's just the items that we think contribute to having the ability to grow as quickly as we want to grow, through having people who are bringing the right approach to solving those problems. New office in Denver. This ended up being one of the best decisions we ever made as a company, and also one of the most challenging things to navigate. We always knew that we wanted to start an office somewhere outside of the Bay Area, so it's going to be a lot cheaper from a salary basis and from office space basis. Don't ask me why we just opened our 3rd office in New York. That was a whole other discussion. But we had a decision because a girl who had worked for us at Meltwater had been working remotely out in Denver for a while, and she actually asked me to do her business school apps, which I did, which are a pain, by the way. Law school recommendations, really easy. It's just like one letter. MBA applications, it's like 17 different questions for each of these schools. But so she said, okay, wait, I've been thinking about it, maybe I want to stay with the company, would you guys ever consider building a team under me here? And that was a tough decision for us, in the sense that this is a girl who managed a team of 3 people for 4 months total at the last company, and that was the extent of her management experience. And so what we were faced with was, okay, do we go out and hire a director who actually has, what on paper would be director level experience, or do we roll the dice and try and build a company and build an office around this girl? And we decided to build the office around her. Her name's Nadine, and she absolutely rocked it. Our Denver office is as big as our San Francisco office now. My team in our Denver office, the Denver office is entirely my team, is bigger than my team in the SF office. They produce awesome results. It's an office of incredible culture. And so I think another takeaway, I think there's certain jobs where you're going to hire for it where you need certain technical expertise. Expertise matters in those types of jobs, right? If you need a PhD in statistics, yeah, that's a different story. if it's more of a generalist, someone with strong communication skills, management skills, I think I would really encourage you to look internally and say, okay, is there someone that I have that's working for me, that's outperforming expectations, that's great for my culture, that does an awesome job, that is really excited about taking on the challenge, and you give them more responsibility than they're ready for, and I think they're going to surprise you more often than not with what they can do. And that's really been a basis for how we've promoted internally in the company as well. Cool. So we got to our infancy stage. This is, a brief look at our growth. We've grown a lot. So we started in September of 2012, so kind of 4 months that aren't represented here. And in that first partial year of 2012, we did about $500,000 in revenue total. And we're going to finish 2016 somewhere around $10.5 or $11 million in sales. What that's meant on the hiring side, it's meant we've gotten to grow. And I think growth is more important than just what it means on the revenue or sales side. When you have a culture that is centered around hiring young people who don't have experience in what we're doing, giving them a chance to really expand their role quickly. Well, you want to be able to promote someone into a management role more quickly than other companies would. You need to keep hiring. So it kind of feeds our culture and feeds our ability to find really talented younger hires who take on a lot of responsibility. I mentioned challenges of getting our name out there early on. We changed our focus on that about 2 years in. A lot of these awards, there are a million of them out there. Pick and choose the ones that you think are going to matter the most to the clients that you're trying to sell in whatever industry that you're in. Pick the ones that are going to allow you to hire the best people that you possibly can within your industry. And that's exactly what we did. So this was far and away the most important thing for us. Ad Age is a national advertising publication, and they do a best places to work list that covers ad agencies, ad technology companies, or marketing technology companies, just any company or job tied to advertising. And we were their winner in 2015. And it had a bigger impact than you would think. Some of these awards, not so big of an impact. Make fun of myself in a second for another one on here. But some of them really matter. We won Denver Business Journal. We're in their best places to work in the small business category. We saw a lot more applications, right? It's a different hiring profile if instead of going to a recruiter who had to sell someone on why they should apply to your company, they've been sold by a third party, by a media publication, by a list, and they're coming to you. This last year, we were named one of the 5 finalists for SEM Agency of the Year. It's kind of like the Oscars for search engine marketing, except much, much, much less cool. So that was a big deal in terms of, again, this is to help us land more clients. This is to help us land better hires. So I think when you start looking at awards, most of them, that's their deal, right? Like they want your $150 or $200 application fee, but they do matter. So think about which ones are going to help your business the most. By far, the least prestigious one I was named to. This has to be the most obscure list in America, but the 32 under 32 in digital advertising in the San Francisco Bay Area. So that one, not as much of an impact. I asked my mom if she wanted to put it on her refrigerator, and she said she wanted to keep up the 5 I got on AP chemistry instead. So I think that was the litmus test of how important this one was. Culture. I talked about the importance of culture. I think one of the challenges that you face when you have multiple offices is how do you maintain that culture across offices. And I think there's a number of different ways that you can do that, but it's important to engage people from the different offices that you have. You guys have remote workers that they aren't just contract folks that are people who you want to be part of the fabric of your company, you need to figure out how to engage them. This is through our HR software, but I mean, this is a normal day. And this is one of our managers in Denver, giving a shout out to, I don't really know what team TFI is, but they crushed their September renewals. You know, I think you can see at a lot of companies, the way people talk about one another internally, they're able to kind of tease themselves and each other about matching outfits. And you get this sort of response from people across the company in New York and San Francisco. That's a sign of a good culture. That's not to say that that's something that we've had at all times. But I think culture is going to be what you put into it, right? It starts at the top, and if you make a point of celebrating your wins, of encouraging more positive behavior, that's what you're going to see out of people at your company as well. This is just, I mean, some pictures of the team. We have fun. We make the most of the time that we have together. That's a selfie with our metric theory branded cake pops on our second birthday, the company's second birthday. We do an annual summer party where we fly in all of our Denver folks. So usually go somewhere in the Bay Area. We've gone, or not Bay Area, but Northern California. We've done Tahoe. This was in Monterey this last year. That's an enormous game of flip cup as the sun is setting, which is a lot of fun. We did some team building stuff on the beach as well. But again, I think don't misrepresent culture with having some fun toys at the office that your employees can work with, right, or play with. It's about getting people together and getting people to engage with one another. I'm going to save a little time for questions, but really quickly, just a little more background on our business model. Our clients pay us anywhere from $2,000 to $40,000 a month. It's a really lean business. We've got 3 teams. We've got a sales team that finds us new clients. We've got my team as the account services team that manages those clients. It's really our expertise that we're selling. And then we have a central functions team, which is everything else, right? It's finance, it's accounting, it's HR. And I think one thing that we got right early on was we wanted to be lean there. And we wanted to invest as much as possible in the people who are driving sales, driving revenue for the company. I think another challenge we've had, a lot of clients really look at fees in terms of amount of time invested. And that doesn't work out so well if you're an advertising agency in San Francisco and you're paying the wages that you see in San Francisco, right? Other agencies that are even in the US, based out of, central Indiana, they're gonna have an easier time if they are charging on a per hour basis. They're gonna beat us on price all the time. So one of the challenges we faced was basically convincing our clients, you're not paying for our hours, you're not paying for our time, you're paying for results, right? One of the nice things with digital advertising is you can measure the exact impact, right? So if they came in spending $10,000 a month on Google AdWords and generating $30,000 a month in revenue, and now they spend that same $10,000 a month, but they generate $50,000 a month in revenue, okay, they're making an extra $20K a month, having them pay $3 or $4K to us, that seems like a pretty good ROI. So in terms of evaluating profitability, we spend a lot of time measuring how much time we are spending on accounts because that is still our cost basis, right? That's not what we're selling to the client, that's our cost basis. So how do we evaluate profits as a company? We look at our monthly recurring revenue and we compare it to our monthly costs. And the 3 that we track very, very closely, it's employee salaries and benefits, it's office space, and it's our technology partner because those are the most expensive. To kind of summarize our progression and some of the challenges, first 6 months, working out of an apartment, no money. Our primary goal at that time was just clients, and to build a website that we could even show people. Next year and a half was basically everyone is going to be selling clients or servicing those clients. We're going to open up the Denver office. Nothing else distracted us. And in year 3 is when I think we really matured and we started focusing on, our blog and our thought leadership and the awards and, a larger cultural focus. I think that was really like us going from adolescence to adulthood in a lot of respects. And now where are we? We're launching new services, in particular Facebook ad services. Servicing our clients, I don't know if this is necessarily particularly interesting, but yeah, when you're a services business, you need to understand the profitability by client or by employee to really understand if you're making money. And I would say just make sure that's top of mind. So where are we now? I didn't really talk about our training program much, but we took a model where we really went all in on training people without any experience rather than hiring people with a lot of experience. And the reason for that is we were more concerned with finding the right people, finding smart, driven people, because we knew we were going to grow. And then we were confident that we could teach them how to do what we were doing better than anyone else in the industry. That's a big all-in bet, but it paid off for us. And I said it's a big all-in bet because if you spend 8 months training someone and they leave after a year, you lose money on that employee. What we did well, I'll skip through because I know we're short on time. Challenge has been launching new services. I did paid search advertising, I managed accounts, I was an account manager once upon a time. It was a lot easier for me and for our senior team to scale a service that we'd been kind of boots on the ground and done. That wasn't the case with Facebook. Larger infrastructure investments. A lot of our finances are effectively tracked on probably the most complex Excel spreadsheet you've ever seen. That would crash most computers, so transitioning to a bigger Salesforce system has been more of a pain than we ever thought. SF office culture, I told you it's not always been perfect. We had the director of our SF office leave a couple of years in, took 6 months to replace him with someone who wasn't ready to take on that sort of leadership role, and now we're back to not having a director for the overall office. It impacts culture, right? You see it in terms of just how employees are reacting to more challenging situations, and then being bi-coastal is going to be a big challenge in a lot of flights for me, trying to cram my 6-7 legs into a coach airline seat. But, any questions? Or anything you want me to expand on? Yeah?
Can you talk about like the nuts and bolts of that ownership allocation discussion that you had with your other 3 co-founders and how that worked and how you avoid the conflict in that or dealt with the conflict?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, it's you want to start a company with people.
Classics. If you have to go, just don't forget the final. Yeah.
You got to start a company with people that you're comfortable being honest with. So I think like that part wasn't as contentious as you might expect, right? It was, hey, this is what I'm comfortable taking. This is what I'm comfortable taking. And you kind of negotiate to find a middle ground. But that was, you know, that was easier if you're starting in with people that you can be honest with. I mean, it's going to become apparent really early on if someone says, I want 50% of the company. In the back of your head, you had, oh, I was going to give this person 5%. Well, that's probably not going to work. If you guys are close, you're going to find a resolution.
So was there a lot of conflict then in that?
No, I think we were all within 5 to 10% of ownership allocation of what we expected or anticipated from each other.
Thank you so much. If anyone else has questions, feel free to stick around.
Yeah, I'll stick around.